Well, good day and welcome to you. It is July the 27th, and I hope wherever you happen to be, you are having a fantastic day. Now, if you are new to this channel, my name is Gary Willing. I want to welcome you and tell you briefly about what we talk about, okay? We talk about the emergence of Maitreya and the Masters of Wisdom. We talk about why are the Masters coming back now. We discuss why is it important that they do so at this particular time. And then, of course, we take a deeper look at what does it mean for you and everyone else that they're doing this. Now, if you've happened to listen to a video or two before in the past, I want to welcome you. Don't want to leave you out. Hope you're having a great day as well, and welcome back. Now, in nearly every video, I talk about the oneness of humanity because I think it's the most important thing that we should be looking at, thinking about, inquiring about, putting it into practice in our own life, of course, and hopefully eventually help to manifest that truth that we are one globally. And you, I'm sure, have heard the term oneness, oneness of humanity, unity, those kind of things. Might not have thought much of it, might not have thought it really was applicable at all based on what you saw, right? Because what you're seeing is not that, right? We're seeing a world that's quite divided. We live our lives quite separate from one another, right? We're afraid of one another. We don't trust one another, right? People are always trying to take advantage of us, so why would we trust everybody, right? Well, what if I told you all evidence to the contrary, we are actually one? In real life, we are one. That's the truth of reality. And I'm going to present a couple pieces of evidence that's proving that we are one. Now, I typically talk about the first set of evidence, the problems, and how that is affecting humanity, and those problems are teaching humanity that we are one. But I'm going to focus more today on the miracles. Now, the problems that are facing humanity are quite severe, and there's a long list to them. But the first problem that is facing humanity, I think, is the clearest example of problems that are teaching humanity that we're one, and that's the environment, okay? We all know how critical the environment is, the state that it's in, and how it's really in a state of peril, okay? Now, I do think that each and every one of us are just somewhat to blame for the situation that we're in, okay? I think that it will eventually take each and every one of us to do something about it, and then if we don't do something about the environment, it's going to affect each and every one of us in a very severe way. Now, JFK once said in a famous speech, he goes, "We all inhabit this tiny planet. We all breathe the same air. We all cherish our children's future." So that tiny planet and that air are quite sick and are literally dying. We happen to inhabit that same planet together, do we not? And so if we do not do something about it, and if we do cherish our children's future, we better do something about it, because I do think it's going to affect the future of not only ourselves, but our children and our children's children if we're not careful. So, but I do think, and this is why I think this information is so important, okay? We're all aware of the problems. We might be doing something about it, we might not. But even if we're doing something about it, we might think that humanity, there's no chance, right? That humanity's probably not going to get it right in time. Well, this other piece of evidence that is teaching humanity they're one, I think, is evidence of hope. Okay, so, and I do think, based on the next set of evidence, that we will get through and we will tackle the problems like the environment and solve it. But here's the thing, okay? This is what I want you to be left with it when you listen to this video, is years from now, after humanity has solved the environmental problem, I think we will all look at this critical issue of the environment, and we will realize that it was our greatest teacher, because it brought forth the truth that's latent within the hearts of all of us, that we are one. Because we're going to have to come together to do something about it, and we're going to go, wow, if it wasn't for the environment, we would have never learned that we were one. And I do think that that's really our greatest teacher. Now, the reason why I think, and I know that we're going to get through it, is because of this next set of evidence that's teaching humanity we're one. And we're going to talk more about some of these. It's the miracles or strange phenomena that are going on. Now, for years, and actually for decades, there has been phenomena that have been happening all around the world. You might have heard about some of them. You might have seen some images or videos of them, perhaps on the news or on the internet. You might have heard people talking about it. I don't know. You might have believed it. You might have been skeptical of it. Now, there have been miracles that have been going on, or strange phenomenon that have been going on for decades, and I hope you do take the time to investigate and see that what I'm saying, there's truth to this. Now, I could list them all off, but they're really too long to list off in a short video. But these miracles are happening to each and every one of the religious groups, and they're also happening to people who are not practicing a religious faith. In a couple instances, like healing waters of Tlacote, Mexico, or northern Germany, or the crosses of light, they're actually healing people of sometimes quite serious illnesses. Doctors can't explain how they got healed. The people can't explain how they got healed other than the fact that they drank some of the water of Tlacote, Mexico, and then were healed of something like AIDS or terminal cancer or diabetes, or they stood in front of a cross that appears in people's windows, and whiz bam bammo, they don't have the illness that they used to have. In most of the miracles, they aren't maybe healed physically, but they're healed spiritually or emotionally, because they might have been somebody who didn't see that there was a lot of hope out there, but after experiencing some of these miracles, they're being left with a greater sense of hope. Now, here's the thing, okay, and this is the other piece that I wanted you to leave you with, is not one single religious group can lay claim to having miracles just for themselves and for themselves alone. So the Christians can't say, well, we got it right, and that's the reason why these miracles are just happening for us and nobody else is experiencing any of these miracles. Because when you look at these miracles, you will see that they're happening to people who practice Christianity, people who practice Islam, people who practice Judaism, people who practice Hinduism, and people of no particular faith that are having their miracles as well. And I don't want to leave out the Buddhists. They're having their own miracles as well. Now, in each and every case, they're leaving people with a greater sense of hope. So the hope for mankind is for all of mankind, which I think is a very clear example of the fact and a teacher that we are one. And that there's evidence of hope, that we're going to get through this. Because I don't think these miracles will be going on in a world with all the serious problems that we have if there wasn't any hope out there. So something to think about. Now, in this particular video, I want to focus on the evidence that they're happening to other religious groups and not just to Christians. Because most of the time, when we hear about miracles, especially if you're living in the West, there are people who practice Christianity. But there are people in the Middle East that are having their miracles as well, and they've been having them for decades as well. And you might not have heard much about it because it doesn't get a lot of press, but I'm just going to list off a few of them. Okay, so in Israel, there are two really big ones for them. One is the birth of the red heifer. Now, I don't really know much about it. I'm not an Orthodox Jew, but apparently in Judaism, this red heifer, a lot of people are attributing it to the coming of the Messiah. This red heifer, there was no genetic reason as to why it was born red, but it's so rare that even over the past few centuries, there hasn't been really many red heifers born. And this one just happened to be born. There are a lot of Orthodox Jews who view it as the sign of the coming of the Messiah. And it was a miracle for them, and of course it's leaving them with a greater sense of hope, feeling more uplifted for the future. Now, not too long ago, there was these lights over Jerusalem that happened. And you can see videos of it on YouTube. And I'll put a link in the description so you can actually go to some YouTube channels and see the videos for yourself that what I'm saying is true. And the interesting thing about this video, it was taken from different vantage points. So it wasn't just one person videotaping it. It was taken from this angle, and then somebody several miles away was taking a video from the same, of the same lights from a different angle. It's quite extraordinary. Truth be told, there were actually spaceships from other planets, but they didn't know what it is. But they just see these way out phenomenal lights happening over the skies and couldn't explain it other than it was just quite extraordinary, and they were left with a greater sense of hope. So these people are practicing Judaism in Israel. Now, there's a lot of tension, of course, in the Middle East. You would think that it was divided. You would think that somebody's got it right, somebody's got it wrong. Well, there's also miracles that are happening to people who are practicing Islam in the Middle East. And a couple examples of those, there's a girl in Lebanon who is a Muslim girl who they claim to, when she cried tears, wasn't just regular tears of water, it was razor sharp crystal tears. Didn't hurt her, didn't cut her eyes, but when they were taken away from her eye, you could actually slice paper with it. It was so sharp, like razor sharp. They viewed that as a sign. There are other examples where people have in the Middle East that cut open fruit. And when they split open the fruit, the seeds spell out Allah or God or something like that, or Allah loves you in Arabic or something like that, leaving those people with a greater sense of hope. I actually have a video of this on my YouTube page. Link is in the description that you can go to this, where there was news coverage of the Arab Spring. Do you remember the Arab Spring that happened some years ago? Millions of people in the Middle East were marching for justice, marching for freedom. Well, in one of these news videos, while they were talking about it, while they were showing live footage of these marches, within the crowd was this holographic image of a white robed figure on a white horse riding through the crowd. Quite extraordinary. Looks CGI, but it wasn't. It was actually a miracle that was put there by Maitreya, the master of all these masters. Quite extraordinary stuff. So they're having their miracles as well. So people who practice Islam are having miracles. People who are practicing Judaism are having miracles. Quite extraordinary. So it's not just the Christians. And then here's the other thing too. Remember I just said about the red heifer that was born? Well, there were some Native Americans in the United States that had a very, very similar miracle, but with a white buffalo. For them, that was a sign of a great omen of wonderful things to come. It was this birth of this white buffalo calf. Quite extraordinary stuff. So these miracles are going on, like I said, and when you investigate this, and I hope you do, you'll see that they're happening to every single one of the religious groups. Now, I want to end this video by reading an article that I believe is written by one of these masters. You don't have to believe it, but just hopefully you'll listen to the words and it will have some truth to it for yourself. But it's entitled "The Age of Miracles Has No End." And I'll leave us with this as our final thought, but it's a quite extraordinary article. The Age of Miracles Have No End, and this was published in Share International magazine on November 1995, so some years ago. Increasingly, men are becoming aware that the Age of Miracles has not ended, but on the contrary, waxes strong throughout the world. Recent manifestations have shaken to the core the complacent certainties of millions. Intensive media interest has guaranteed a worldwide audience for future miraculous events which will astonish even more believer and skeptic alike. The door has thus been opened through which Maitreya can emerge and be accepted as the force behind the miracles. Thus has been prepared a twofold approach to the hearts and minds of men. Modern communications will ensure that the thoughts and words, the ideas and hopes of Maitreya will reach millions in the privacy of their homes, while miraculous manifestations will engage the intention of countless millions throughout the world. Already, the name of Maitreya is being linked to recent happenings in temples east and west. Very soon, therefore, men can expect to hear that the teacher, awaited by all, is indeed among us, that he lives and presents his living teaching for the greater livingness of all. Soon, men will know that their long wait is over, that the world has been prepared for an event greater than the mind can contemplate, an event surpassing all in the long history of earth. Never before in the known history of man have the masters walked openly among men. For the first time in countless ages will they thus conduct their myriad tasks of succor. In this way, a new link will be forged between the world of men and that of their elder brothers. Men will seek to emulate the qualities of these perfected ones, and through such inspiration and example, the evolution of the race will proceed apace. Thus will it be. Thus will the guardians bring to bear their knowledge and experience for the benefit of all. Those engaged in the work of preparation may take courage from the recent worldwide miraculous events, for they presage the imminent appearance of Maitreya before men. Those who have worked to spread the knowledge of his presence will know that their efforts were not in vain, that the world needed their service, that they gave of their best in answer to their heart's call. They will know, too, that the thanks and love of Maitreya go with them all their days. The miracles abound and will continue to astonish the forlorn hopes of so-called scientists and experts will prove of no avail to discount the evidence of men's eyes. Turning their minds to the hope which manifests engender, men will connect them with the wise words of Maitreya and follow his lead. Remember to take action and help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos.